You're live.
The Wade and Carter Show is a paid programming, and KHMC Magic 95 assumes no responsibility for its content, and the Wade and Carter Show bears all responsibilities for their opinion and guests.
AOC in a primary challenge. There's hope for a mask. NASCAR news and a whole lot more coming up on today's Wade and Carter Show.
Now, before we do this, let's go over the rule number 1. No touching of the hair or face. Now that's it. Now let's do this.
Hey, good morning.
I couldn't help it.
Shouldn't have let you.
Play me the Chewbacca just once.
Where's the
Or
Chewbacca?
eases pain. Chewbacca was over
right
there. Yeah. I love the sound effects. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. How are you today?
Oh, I'm good.
Let's do this real quick.
Wade and Carter weather on a Tuesday, 79 degrees in Victoria, heading to a high today of 93 under cloudy skies. There you have it. You ever have that morning when you're coming in and it doesn't matter how long or how fast you drive, that the windshield wipers just can't get your windshield dry and clean?
Yeah, that was this morning.
I
Yeah,
hate that.
I put the rear defrost on. I put my
Yeah.
regular defrost
You're
on.
driving and the wipers going, all it is smear a very thin sheet of water from one side to the other and it just stays there.
Use Rain-X on your windshield.
I need to. I used to wax it and
Did
it
you?
worked fine too. Just anything to run it off.
I used to use the Rain-X, and then I don't know. Didn't like what it did to the windshield wipers.
Right. They want to grab it all the time. Yeah.
So, see who's in this morning.
But we digress.
We do. Marvin Mickish, first one in. David Glass, the Iceman, Patrick Strauss, C.W. Bean, Lisa Poole, Chris Jansen, Matt Boucher, Stephen Kidder, Scott Tomko, Karen Webb, Sheriff Louderback.
Iceman hates soaring jerky prices.
Yes, he does.
Is there a correlation between the price of jerky and the COVID crisis?
I would think
As numbers go up,
it might lag a little.
right?
Callie Fromme, Jamie Zeller, Trey Molina, there's the Funky,
Funky.
Adam Daughtry, Clint Ives. I see Chris Conrad is in.
There's T-Lac. Good morning, sweetheart.
Johnny Houghton, good morning to you in Western Manitoba, where hopefully summer has finally arrived, considering we are into the third day of summer now.
Mike Bloschke, Rena Shear,
Christina Wise, Matt Boucher,
the judge.
Jennifer Yancey checking in all the way from Richmond,
Yeah.
somewhere over there.
Welcome. Good morning.
Scott Tomko, good morning. Judge Posey. So, you know what? It's almost time for maybe a Matt Boucher appearance.
Yeah, Dawn was asking me the other day, is it time to fertilize again? Something about Flag Day, or is it close to fertilizer time again? I don't know.
I think you're almost halfway there.
I need him.
I think if I remember from the last time he was in, I think it's around Memorial Day, and then it's around July 4th. And I don't know what after that.
He needs to come on in.
Larry Lay, good morning. Wendell Geigel. Morning, everybody. So, if you have questions for either one of the sheriff's candidates, send me a message, or I shared a post on Facebook. I've been asked and honored to moderate a debate that Caleb Shaw and has put together with his Meet Victoria and Shaw Realty on Thursday evening between Justin Marr and Dale Fowler, or Dale Fowler and Justin Marr. I don't want to give either one advanced billing or top billing. So I'm
Well, Marr did have, I guess Marr was the primary vote getter in the, we had the majority or had the,
it was the
more votes
leader
than
after
anybody.
after the primary, and here's the runoff coming up on
I would probably do
July
it in
14th, right?
order, but then that's discriminatory.
Well, I think to go first, we will probably just pick a name, and that's the fairest way to do it. So we're working
Why don't
on
you
questions.
arm wrestle? Grapple. Let them grapple.
Leg
See who
wrestle.
wins. Right. Or thumb wrestle. Let's just keep it simple.
Simple. There you go. That might work.
Rock, paper, scissors. Can you see Dale? 3 out of 5. Come on.
I think you go forever. 4 out of 7. 5 out of 9.
Why not? Cheater.
6,
my mind.
6 out of 11.
Ninja mind tricks.
It's never stopping.
It just goes forever. It's like fighting with your brother.
It's like the song that never ends. Goes on and on, my friends.
2 good men, 2 men that have worked together in the past, 2 men that both support our county. So should be Victoria's a winner either way, but one of them is going to win the runoff.
So is that fence board hurting you as you straddle it?
Absolutely.
Patricia Nagel, Warren Bingham,
You can't handle the truth.
Brent Anderson, good morning. Scott Snow.
That's it.
Bobby Leister checking in.
See, folks, we found that by the time we tell all of you hi, we can tell a couple of little witless stories and move on. Good morning, TB.
Torrin Bales. So I'm looking forward to that Thursday evening, 6 o'clock. It'll be streamed everywhere. Well, not everywhere, but it'll be on Facebook. It'll be on
Global.
Yeah.
Torrin's lovely bride, Melissa, had a birthday Sunday. We don't do birthday shout-outs ever. We never would. But it's worth pointing out that Melissa did have a birthday, and she's looking forward to voting in her second election. She's the ageless one. Of course, she's married. But Torrin's a good-looking man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
He's well-preserved. Not like you. You're pickled.
No, it's you.
I told him
I
this
don't like how
morning,
you
folks,
project.
I told him. Denial.
66 YouTube subscribers. We've hit
Don't think we're not having a second wave.
we've hit Mario Lemieux.
I told Ash this morning that he looks a little bit like Christian Slater. Like it'd be like he looks like Christian Slater's mugshot. Like if Christian Slater went to rehab, he might look like this. And then I also told him that he looks like Liam Neeson.
I'll find you and I'll kill you.
He looks like Liam Neeson in all the Taken movies. The hair is just out of control. It's
I
just.
thought except for the little cow lick here, I thought I did all right today.
No, it's good. But look at it in the video.
I know,
You
but
look
it's
like Liam Neeson.
but it's probably the best it's looked. Let's be honest.
No, you look good. You
The-
could come by the house and T-Lac could trim up the neckline and you'd be okay. You could keep going.
The puck drop can't happen quick enough. I'm telling you. Yeah.
You see where the fake news media, this just caught my eye this morning, that Oklahoma reported, these are to me,
Listen to the headline.
they reported their highest number of positive cases of COVID on the Monday after President Trump's rally in Tulsa.
And what was the exact headline? Because you read it to me, and then the first thing I said was that's
It
BS.
just said, largest COVID positive spike in Oklahoma follows Trump rally. Well, it may have been, but those people were tested like the Wednesday before the rally.
Yeah.
You know, they weren't, I mean,
The rally was Saturday night.
there's no way.
There's no way they're getting the results for a Monday headline.
And they didn't test everybody walking out of that place.
No.
The whole thing is just misleading garbage.
And that was a Newsweek
Torrin
headline, I
says he'll
believe.
cut your
Yeah.
hair.
I've seen your haircut, Torrin. I'm good.
Have you ever shaved your head?
I had a flat top all through high school.
That's
As
a good look.
close as I came.
I like it. There's Judge Zeller. Good morning,
Yep.
sir.
Now, Mayor, good morning. There's your Aunt Betty checking in.
Hello, Aunt Betty.
Adam Daughtry says, let's start the bid at $10 for Ash's haircut.
You know, back to yesterday, Commissioners Court met. They discussed the COVID situation, to mask or not to mask.
Governor Abbott yesterday weighed in, urged Texans to wear masks.
I'm still reading stuff daily that says that there's no great advantage. You know, we get this idea because when you're in a hospital and a doctor's working on you, they're wearing a mask. It's mostly, I think, to protect you from them or them from you. I don't know. They're wearing a mask.
Well,
So now we think that's the way we should do it.
Well, I see the advantage from the simple point that if you've got it, or I don't, or I do and you don't, if I sneeze, my spit and all that crap that goes flying out isn't going to land on you. Thank you. My expectorant.
Yes.
My snotty, mucus, moist
Nice.
spittle
Dank.
stays inside the mask and doesn't hit you for the most part.
Right.
That's all I can see. I understand the microns and the virus is smaller than what the particles can get through a mask.
Yada,
But-
yada, yada.
Yeah, but my big gob of green
Phlegm.
mucus phlegm isn't landing on your cheek
Wow.
because it's stuck. Well, I'm trying to paint a visual as to
You
why
are.
it works, right?
Well,
It stays inside my mask and runs
just
down my
drips
beard.
out and sticks into your beard like stucco.
Exactly. Hope you're enjoying your cornflakes this
So
morning.
you got that.
This
you got-
COVID moment brought to you by Kellogg's.
They're talking about that. They're talking about the economy. They're talking about the 2021 budget. They're talking about the economy and tax-based situations. And the headline in today's paper is about citizens are demanding an audit at the airport.
Well, the more things change, the more this stays.
Yeah.
Michael Jolly just became my new best friend. Hair looks good, more like Leonardo on Wolf of Wall Street.
Nice.
Thank
Well
you.
played.
I'll take it.
Yep.
Hear that? Hear that, Cheryl?
DiCaprio's no slouch.
Jimbo Slice checking in. Bree Hanchett. There's my beautiful wife, Cheryl.
Steve Kidder says this coffee tastes weird now. Steve Kidder, did you see?
Rob Prather says we should have been wearing a mask our entire lives then.
Right?
Some people should. Cheryl says she did not hear that from Michael Jolly.
Did you see the tweet yesterday that I posted on Facebook?
I did.
What do you think of that? Worth talking about? That dead air tells me maybe just let it go.
I don't know. It's well, because here's the thing. I hate the cancel culture,
Right.
but it just shows that sometimes youth has an ignorance that just doesn't. They don't understand.
What if you said that at UHV? Just throw it back in your life. What if I said that at GSM? Bunch of dinosaurs still come by our office to pay for their insurance.
Probably be canned.
That's what I'm wondering. So the Advocate has a writer, I don't even remember her name, it's inconsequential. Young, clearly dumb, at least ignorant, blurts out that, hey, well, you know, I wrote a cookbook about a bakery that went out of business. Well, you didn't write a cookbook about a bakery that went out of business. You wrote a cookbook about how to pass this recipe book, which, you know, is becoming famous. I've been getting calls at the office from people that don't even know.
They had 8,000 orders. That would put it on the New York Times bestsellers list.
Right. Anyway, I just saw Steve Kidder's name on there. I thought it was interesting that, you know, you insult your readership and you think that that's just going to fly. Called the Advocate readers dinosaurs. You'd be amazed how many still come by and pay for their subscription. Well, you know, that's the people. That is your readership.
Yeah.
That's who reads your
base.
garbage.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So.
She wouldn't work for me anymore. Put it that way.
Rob Prather says 300 people signed and petition for an audit. Over 6,000 have signed to keep the statute petition.
Here's your meme. This is what virologists wear when they work. But don't worry, your mask is great. You know, there shows a virologist working in a hazmat suit with a full face shield and all that. But don't worry,
I get all that, but that, like I said, it's to keep your green mucusy Flemish.
Yes.
And I don't mean to insult the Flemish stuff from landing in my personal social distance space.
Iceman says he mistakenly made a black tea instead of coffee Sunday morning. He said that mixed with cream and sugar was quite a surprise.
You know what? If you mixed it with cream and sugar, you just basically had you just had tea the way the English drink it.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Did you learn that when you were stationed in London?
Well, you can't assimilate if you don't understand the culture.
Right.
You can't infiltrate if you don't learn to drink tea, and you got to have that.
That's why when I'm in England, I eat my peas off of a knife.
with a little honey.
What was that? There was a spy in World War II that was outed because of his eating style.
Yeah.
Forgot exactly the story, but it was interesting at the time.
Well, why do you think the Soviet Union built little towns and cities that mimic
Like
America
Victoria.
in the middle of the Soviet Union?
Yeah. Of course, they've now torn down that statue.
Yeah.
I love California taking down a statue of Ulysses S. Grant. I mean, that's brilliant.
Yeah, we didn't get to that yesterday. So the New York Times reported the American Museum of Natural History is going to move the Teddy Roosevelt statue. It's already at the museum.
But it's not, what is it? It's not the Museum of whatever. It's not the Museum of Art. It's the Museum of Natural History or whatever. I don't like the idea, like our little statue downtown, it's no great statement about the Confederacy. It's no statement about Victoria and our support of the South or any of that. All it is now is a symbol of a bunch of unoriginal people with nothing better to do, saying, well, heck, man, everybody else is tearing down their statues. Why don't we tear down ours too? Why not? Hey, let's get with Kim Pickens. She ain't got nothing else to do. Let's go tear down some stuff. Why? Let's get us a Black Lives. I don't know what it means, but let's get us a rally. It'll be peaceful. Bunch of boneheads, man. There's nothing better to do. Why don't they all get together and go build a habitat home? Why don't they all get together and clean up the right of way? Why don't they all get together and volunteer to go do something constructive in the park?
Instead of tearing down, why wouldn't you add something to it? If education is the goal that many of these groups that seek to move these things to museums
Right.
is their end goal, why wouldn't you work to build something next to it to then educate? Then you get more people who would become educated, wouldn't you?
That requires thought. And what these folks are doing is being the mindless followers of the mindless protagonist. That's what it is.
Yet it amazes me that you still have statues of Lenin standing in Seattle. I believe there's one in New York City. And the interesting thing is the Seattle one, well, that's on private property. We can't touch it. Hasn't stopped you from taking down and violating other laws.
Yeah, it's all hypocrisy.
It'll be interesting to see if they will actually go back and prosecute anybody that they can find who's had a hand in wrecking public property. Because the last time I checked, that's a crime in almost every city I've ever been in. At least vandalism. It'll be interesting to see if people get charged with, on the back end of these riots, with anything.
It's crazy. It says one of the Black Lives Matter leaders wants to tear down a statue of Jesus because he says it represents white supremacy. Jesus wasn't white, people. He didn't talk in King's English. It's crazy.
And he didn't have, last time I checked, he didn't have slaves.
No.
Treated everybody as an equal.
I mean, it's just,
yeah.
I'm now at the point, of course, it's my job to think about things at a conspiracy level. I'm convinced that a lot of this, that Black Lives Matter is really just an extension of, domestic terrorism.
Well, the lady that runs it, what's her last name? Cullers? Cullers, I think, right?
Okay.
I watched an interview with her where she admits, I'm a trained Marxist.
Yeah.
Where do you go with that?
And a lot of people say, oh, that's not what I'm all about. I'm just all about equality for everybody. They call that communism. Equality for everybody. Communism. I'm not talking about equal rights for everybody.
No.
By the way, you've got those now. Interesting. And of course, that's just white privilege oozing out of me because I was born a rich white kid. Not. I don't know. What are you seeing? I mean, we'd love your feedback. 575-9509. If you disagree, I'd love that too. I would love to be educated where I can at least have some empathy for these people that I find to be just completely clueless.
Well, I thought it was an interesting perspective from Lieutenant Colonel Alan West last week.
Yeah.
who basically said tearing down these statues is idiotic. I'm paraphrasing a little bit.
Well, if you're doing things that are anti-American, then
That's
go
the goal.
live somewhere else. Besides that, the other problem is
Just the other
there
problem,
is
there's
nowhere
many.
else to go. That's the problem. I heard Ronald Reagan. I listened to a Ronald Reagan speech the other night. He said, "What you're missing in America is if this experiment goes bad, you ain't got no place to go. The people that come here from other countries, the disenfranchised from other countries that come here, the huddling masses yearning to be free, they come here. Where are you going to go?
Yeah.
Where are you going to go from here if you don't stand and fight for the freedoms we have?"
Nowhere, because almost every country is moving towards a form of socialism, communism. I mean, think about where we were 3 months ago, standing in line for toilet paper,
And it was dumb.
standing in line for water, standing in line for bread, limited to one pack of ground beef
Hysteria.
in a store.
And look, and I told Ash this morning, what are you going to do when you decide you don't like the government here and you decide, that's it. I'm just going to fold up shop and go live in Switzerland or somewhere. Guess what, folks? They closed the borders very quietly with nobody talking. They restricted travel. Americans couldn't leave our country. What you going to do? What are you going to do when you try to leave the county and there's a DPS trooper, bless your heart, HR, I'm just using that metaphorically, but there's a DPS trooper there saying, "I need to see your papers." Where are you going? Where are you planning on going? Have you been tested for COVID? Let me take your temperature. Where are you going? I was going to go to Iowa. No, not today. You're not. Go back home. What are you going to do when in the name of community safety, all of your civil liberties are taken away from you? Where are you going to go then? How long are you going to stand around and let people walk your streets, tell you what to think, tell you how to worship? It's peaceful. It's a peaceful takeover, giving up our country, one civil liberty at a time, freely, willingly, because we're scared. We're scared of a virus. We're scared of a virus that everybody's going to get. You're going to get it.
Chances are.
Alan's Wrecker Service, folks, 578-6300. Reach out to Alan if your car won't go. Reach out to Alan if you need a ride. Reach out to Alan if you have an accident. You got a load laying on the side of the road. He'll bring a crane out, straighten up the big rig, and put it back on the street. 578-6300. Alan is just quite simply the best of the best of the best in this region. Has office in Victoria, office in Refugio.
Yeah, they'll cover all your needs from here to the valley.
The VCS companies, Rocket Oilfield Services, and the only locally owned and authorized AT&T retailer, all part of the Hartman family businesses.
Right there in Kerr Boulevard, you can stop by the only locally owned and authorized AT&T retailer. Get all your needs for your communication devices.
All your new chargers, the ones that work, the cords that don't break, reach out to them. They'll take care of you. We had to get some assistance with our new iPad that we got at the AT&T retailer.
It's working.
It's perfect. Great video.
It's a better picture. It doesn't zoom in and out like the old
It
ones,
doesn't freak.
no,
Yeah, better depth of field.
which maybe isn't a good thing.
SCT Building Systems, Clayton and Casey Help will help you design your next building. Maybe you need to build that little barn dominium out in the country.
Maybe you want to move your in-laws closer, your parents closer. You don't want them in the house, but you want a little mother-in-law standalone suite. They can build that for you.
They can help you with that. And they're very, very good at it. Lots of recommendations. Reach out to them.
564-8864 is the number to call.
And Chesley Furniture Company will help you furnish that new barn dominium. 116 West Juan Lynn, the corner of Juan Lynn and Bridge. For 100 years, they've been selling furniture in Victoria, furniture, bedding. They have Tempur-Pedic bedding now, televisions, appliances, all kinds of things to go in your house and make it pretty. Chesnick and Love make your house a home, and you just do better at Chesnick. So we're not trying to be the purveyors of doom and gloom.
No, but I
Just trying
thought,
to get you to
but
stop
here,
and
well,
think.
but here's an uplifting thing, and this would be, you called it the IUD of coronavirus, and it's a play on words because Indiana University researchers there have come up with a defense, a mask
the IUD.
that they think could lead to virus killing masks they have a special fabric, researchers there, that it's electrocuticle fabric is what they call it. It employs microcell batteries to create an electric field. What they've already known is it's already FDA approved as a wound dressing to keep bacteria from entering wounds. So you don't end up with flesh-eating bacteria or something else, right? Well, they've done some studies and they're showing that, at least in their studies, it can block the coronavirus as well and actually kill the virus when it comes in contact with the mask.
Can you imagine 5 years from now, if you or a loved one died from brain cancer associated with wearing the IUD? Please reach out to the law firm of Bentley, and Bentley.
That might come. But why wouldn't we be rushing this into development and
It's not the Fauci mask. He wants the mask.
and getting it into the hands of those most vulnerable?
At this point, you could issue one to everybody in a nursing home and probably, but I'm convinced the government doesn't really want those people to live.
Well,
They're not worried about helping them.
Governor Cuomo didn't.
No.
He just put them all into sick people into nursing homes.
Yeah.
And nobody ever talks about that. Well, let's just put these highly contagious disease-ridden individuals back into nursing homes.
Right. So they can spread it to their peers and die and get off the government roll.
Yeah.
Did you hear? I know usually,
But I don't know. I think that's an interesting development. It's certainly a novel approach. And
it's like that bug zapper screen, right? As the bacteria, like when the fly hits it, then it dies. It's the same thing, but as the virus hits the mask, it dies.
that would be cool. If it actually you saw it do that, that would be. Then I think people might.
Or if you got it as you're walking around, every time you exhale, Did you hear Brett Favre? Did you actually hear Brett Favre speak?
I did not. No.
I felt bad for Favre because, make no mistake, the Southern Mississippi product is no rocket scientist. He's a 3-time NFL MVP, Super Bowl champion,
All-time interception leader.
great quarterback. And let me tell you something. Brett Favre was queried the other day about his thoughts on Colin Kaepernick. Now, Brett Favre's in a bad spot. I mean, Brett Favre can't say, "You kidding me? The guy's a spare." Now he's a racist, right? So Brett Favre has to say, well, his skills can't have eroded that much over the last couple of years. Now, he never said he had great skills. He did not say that. I listened to him. Then he said, well,
I tend to agree with him.
and he said, and when he was at his peak, in his prime, his feet were as big a weapon as anything else he had. And that's true, too. That's almost a way of saying he wasn't that great a passer, but he could run a little bit. So then they asked him, do you think that there might be a place in Canton for a man who makes a stand like Colin Kaepernick? And I know that Brett Favre wanted to go in Canton, in the Hall of Fame, for being a protester, but he didn't. He said, well, when I look around, he goes, there's probably a place in Canton for someone who stood up for their beliefs to their own detriment. He said, when I try to think about somebody who's done that in the NFL, he goes, the only other person that comes to mind is like Pat Tillman. Pat Tillman left the NFL in his prime, joined the military, and actually was killed in action. And the media seized on that. Idiot Favre compares Colin Kaepernick to Pat Tillman. And that wasn't the case at all. I listened to the
I'm glad you did, because I didn't and wasn't going to weigh in on this because I haven't listened to Brett Favre.
Highly uncomfortable. But as a Hall of Famer, as a very public figure, when asked these questions, he could not say, "Oh, I don't get into that. Oh, I don't want to talk about that."
Because if he did, as a white man who played ball at Southern Mississippi, he's a cop-out, or worse, he's then labeled a racist.
So he answered the questions.
And then he's vilified for it.
And then he's vilified for it. And the thing is, if you go and read the headlines, all you're going to see is that Brett Favre's lost his mind, trying to compare Colin Kaepernick to Pat Tillman. You know, one's a guy protesting against the flag, the other's a guy dying, not literally, but in stereotype, protesting against the flag. The other guy's dying for the flag. The gall of Brett Favre to do that. Not correct at all. He was trying to tiptoe around and bring some perspective to a very touchy situation. And I felt bad for him, and I'm not even a huge fan. It's not like it was Troy Aikman.
But we've said this on this show. I do believe Colin Kaepernick was blackballed. You can't tell me that a guy that took a team to the Super Bowl, had some pretty good success in San Francisco,
Yep.
couldn't at least find a backup job somewhere. When you look at the retreads the NFL continues to put out and dress as backup quarterbacks around the league.
And there are some terrible backups. I can't even tell you Dak's backup, except the one we just got.
Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
Actually, probably one of the better backups the Cowboys have ever had since maybe Danny White.
But here's the deal. At the end of the day, the NFL is entertainment. Ask the Dixie Chicks. When you become politically a liability, people don't want you around. And that's what happened to Colin Kaepernick. Yeah, he probably would be a very serviceable backup. Do you really want your backup quarterback on the sidelines every day with a huge afro taking a knee, drawing attention to himself? No, you want your backup holding a clipboard and praying to goodness that nothing happens to the starter. So he became a political liability, and I do agree he was blackballed.
And a marketing liability.
But I challenge, I'm not going to go out and cause all kinds of problems and expect GSM just to love me unconditionally. And you're not going to go out and stand on the corner. You're not going to run naked again in front of Popeyes and think the UHV ain't going to find out. Because they had you on video. You look a little chunkier.
Well, video adds 20 pounds.
And you need to manscape.
I didn't look that closely.
It was, well, you didn't, all you see was it just looked like a shadow. There was nothing there.
Joe Davenport, good morning to you. Jimbo Slice says there's no comparison in the NFL to a guy like Pat Tillman.
Totally agree. When selfless soldier went and did what he did, there's Dana Moore de la Garza. Good morning, ma'am. Hope you're doing well.
He gave up millions of dollars.
Yes.
Lisa Merriman, good morning.
Jimbo Slice. That's like 50 Cent.
So Israel has pushed ahead with Remdesivir as a treatment for COVID. That's good news.
What is Remdesivir? Is it an existing drug?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what it is. And I think there's, and I read something over the weekend too about a steroid that they're using that's been beneficial to some of the most extreme cases of respiratory distress and COVID.
So HCl with Allegra and the bug zapping mask.
There you go. There's my daughter Tyler checking in.
There's Carl Went.
Carl Went, good morning to you. Roy Gutierrez.
What does he just type?
Generators.
So
we're getting there. Yeah. Well, we're at the bottom of the hour, so let's go there.
Folks, now's a great time to reach out to Went Services. Whether you need a Generac generator, or if you want a Cummins or a Briggs & Stratton or
Kohler.
on, they've got
Sure,
them.
they got them.
They've got them. It is storm season, but instead
Did you say Generac?
it's generator season. You need one at your home so that when the grid goes down, you don't go down. But now you can couple that, mate that with solar panels that feed back into a Generac battery backup pack. And you can effectively, you're making the meter turn backwards. It doesn't work that way, but you're storing power that will run your equipment
When you need it.
when you need it.
When everybody else in the neighborhood is sitting there trying to figure out what to do and the lights won't come on, you can invite them all over to a
This
block
is when
party.
you get one of those big old things of propane, and you sit out on the back patio and just pick your banjo and have that piece of straw. And you've got it because you've got power off the grid.
Yep.
Do it.
Uncle
Went
Mud's
Services.
Yeah.
When
Stop on by, give them a call.
plumbing,
They got it all. They can do it all.
Empire. Call them.
I use them to run power up to my shop, and
Yeah.
they did a great job.
Carl said he was really looking forward to get a check from you. So, You know when you
Paid
get that
long
bill,
ago.
folks, you know when you get that bill and you unfold it and it says current, over 30, over 60, over 90, and then there's like a fold out over 120, over 150, over 180. Ash is over there on the right side of that chart.
270 now.
Carl's like, hey, I'm about to start docking your sponsorship check. Whatever. Need him to step up. Oh goodness. Veracruz tomorrow. Don't go today.
You can go today and you can go tomorrow.
Don't. Tomorrow.
Prime yourself for Caldo today.
Caldo day. Get into Veracruz. Veracruz to go, folks. Still 576-6015. You can pick it up at the door. You can go inside and pick it up. They still have the enchilada casserole that is just mouth-watering. Queso,
Phenomenal.
guacamole, the sides, the rice, beans. They have the best hot sauce in town, best tortillas in town.
Chips.
They got it all. Reach out to them. BJ Nelson checks in. White Trash Services,
550-1826. Give them a call for all your trash collection needs. I believe the city has opened up bids for commercial trash collection, refuse collection.
I want White Trash Services to get that award. I want them to have that contract. They deserve it. They're local. They're family owned. Like all of our sponsors. Went, grew up here, local. All these people, they're all local sponsors, local businesses. Let's support them together.
Let's do it.
Yeah, well, White Trash Services now, you need to reach out to them for if you need a roll-off dumpster for a big project you're doing, they can take care of you. That's an offer dealership. Victoria's homegrown dealership since 1926.
Cadillac, Chevrolet, Mitsubishi, Mazda, pre-owned vehicles. If you
Fat kids, skinny kids, kids that climb on
almost
rocks,
have that cadence to it,
tub
didn't it? Yeah.
kids, sissy kids.
They've got all your vehicle needs can be met, and that's an offer. It's that simple.
If you ding one up, they got a body shop. If you need service, they can change your oil, do all kinds of major mechanical work in their shop. Go see Daryl.
Who was I talking to the other day? One of our regular listeners had their vehicle in to talk to Daryl to work on
Really?
last week. Yeah.
Chances are good. I mean, everybody here's dealt with Atzenoffer at some point.
So get on by, check them out at atzenoffer.com. If you want to browse their inventory, it's up to date, and you can see everything they've got available, new owned, pre-owned.
Yeah, if you need to reach out to Dwayne Proctor for a laptop or a printer problem, GDP Tex is 550-4744.
So NASCAR, Bubba Wallace finishes 14th, I think, yesterday in the race.
Right.
There was a Talladega, right?
Just another guy at a car race. Good for him. I mean, I didn't know. How about this? If you'd have told me Bubba Wallace, he's from Alabama, I would have never thought that Bubba Wallace was a black man. Nothing stereotypical about that. NASCAR driver.
The lone black driver in NASCAR.
There was a while back, 20 years ago, there was a lone black Indy driver. I forgot his name. Honestly, I think they called him Rabbit. His name was that was his dad. I met his dad.
Did you?
Anyway, yeah, he was. But I mean, make no mistake that to make it to the NASCAR circuit, this is not a. It's a.
You're a good driver,
and it's a life of privilege too. These people are not. These aren't just little poor kids that, wow, he was pretty good with a soapbox. Let's get him a go-kart.
Yeah.
It costs money to work.
Boy, he could run some moonshine.
Right. It's in Duke boys. Those days are over. It's
long over. And he runs for Richard Petty, runs the number 43.
They all have good names too, Bubba Wallace. Well, except Dick Trickle. That's
a great name.
Right?
I thought it was Cole Trickle.
No, there's Dick Trickle too, and the number 23 penicillin car. I mean, come on, you can't name a kid Dick Trickle.
I thought that was Days of Thunder name. No,
it's a true story.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
I wouldn't lie to you.
I know you wouldn't. Oh, you might.
There is a Cole Trickle too. I think he still races, but Bubba Wallace finishes 14. But that's not really the issue. They were in Alabama, I guess at Talladega, and somebody. I mean, I have to say allegedly, because I don't think Bubba was involved. Don't get me wrong. Somebody put a noose, symbolic of racist times, symbolic of a
Richard Trickle.
Dick Trickle. Yeah. Who names their kid that?
Mr. and Mrs. Trickle did.
Right. Come on. So, anyway, somebody put a noose in
his garage
where it was obvious that it was there. Now, the garages in a NASCAR race are highly,
Cole Trickle is a fictional Tom Cruise character. That's the confusion I have.
they are
Thank you.
highly monitored. You don't just because you have a pit pass doesn't allow you to walk into. Not to mention, I want you to think
After
about
hours, they had
logistics.
done their
Qualifying.
qualifying, right? Cars were up for the night. Between people leaving and people arriving the next morning, they discover the news. And what's interesting is, I mean, and if this happened, absolutely abhorrent behavior, and anybody who's associated needs to be banned from NASCAR
Sure.
for life, at the very least.
But it would probably have to be somebody associated with NASCAR, right?
Well, that's the interesting thing in reading some of the analysts on this is these are places that are guarded like Fort Knox. There's video cameras everywhere. There's surveillance everywhere. There's alarms and all these things.
$500,000 cars sitting around.
Well, and that's the other reason. NASCAR themselves, you don't go tinkering with these cars to try to get a competitive advantage. So if there's video of this, which I would think there would be, it should be pretty easy and fairly quick to resolve the situation and see who's behind it.
If not,
And justice should be served.
somebody at the VCS company should reach out to Talladega and say, would you like to have some 1080p, cameras installed? It just seems odd that somebody could walk into a garage, any garage, at a NASCAR event and prominently display a noose, which obviously has racial overtones.
Oh, yeah.
And I just don't understand how it got pulled off, is the truth.
No, that's the baffling part. But you turn a camera off, you have some inside information, and next thing you know, I mean, it's no different than Epstein.
I joked with you before the show, they need to check that noose and see what has Jeffrey Epstein's DNA on it. He did not kill himself, by the way.
Still. Adam Dodge says Ben Asillin.
Ben Asillin.
There's your new NASCAR racer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I yeah.
What did you say that you were looking at the standings and the Kenseth guy got a point? Was it like a participation?
It must have been dead last, but people above him get no points. Does he get a point just because his name's Matt Kenseth and he's former Winston Cup winner or whatever it is?
A lap or something.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
He didn't finish dead last.
I don't love NASCAR. They tried to emphasize that NASCAR is more about the team and that NASCAR is more about what happens in the pits and all that. To me, the guy that wins the most races is the champion. They have this deal where you can finish second every week. I mean, it's like being what's his name on the PGA Tour that's always in the top 10? Matt Kuchar.
Matt Kuchar.
That's who you're. No, I want to be Tiger Woods. I want to win all the events.
Yeah, Scott Tomka says it's buttoned up pretty good.
I would think so.
Yeah.
So you just have to wonder the logistics of how did someone get in there? How did they get into the race? Of course, I guess you could probably carry a backpack in, but what if they stopped to check your backpack and you got a noose in it?
I'm sure they are these days. You can't get into a sporting event without a clear purse or a clear bag, right?
And I have no problem with NASCAR saying they don't want rebel flags at their events anymore. I just don't have a problem with that. That's our heritage. Well, okay, but this is our product, and we're trying to appeal to a broad base. Just like I don't think that the NFL ought to allow Black Lives Matter flags into their stadiums. It's not a place, but it's not there. Doesn't deserve to be there. No reason.
Bob Watley says he'd caddy for you.
Bobcat's a good dude.
Johnny Houghton.
I'd have to caddy for him. He's a better player than I am.
And here's a good perspective because Johnny Houghton was a security consultant, knows his stuff, worked for De Beers, the diamond company.
Right.
Yeah. He says you can have the best, most expensive video surveillance system, but only as good as a person operating it. In his experience, people spend a bunch of money on the system and none on training and individuals to operate them.
Probably true.
Probably true.
That's right.
Yeah. So We're
The
going to
Iceman says, you want a clear bag? Grab a bag of ice from the Iceman. Yeah.
plastic ice bag walking into the stadium. It says ice on it. He's just looking to brand himself. That's all.
He is legendary.
He's just looking to brand himself.
He sure had a good looking kid. I saw a picture of a little guy named Remington the other day.
Must look like his mom.
Good looking. You can't tell. You don't know what the Iceman looks like underneath that beard.
Well, that's true in the hat. You can't really tell. It's always pulled down low. He almost looks a little
What
Yosemite,
would
Yosemite Samish.
If you, without weapons, right? What if
Yes.
you put some batteries in that beard? It could it could zap the COVID. I think we're getting to the
That'd be
point,
the
folks,
concern.
where
Would that beard burn up on that mask?
we've got to just flat out get tired of the COVID. I'm tired of it. Wash your hands. Try not to get too close to people and go on about your life. If you're going to get it, you're going to get it.
I was saddened yesterday to read two of the larger sports bars in Calgary closing as they fall victim to COVID closures. Shanks, they were formed I think they opened up in 1994, just before I moved down here. So I only went to them a handful of times, but they were novel. They were Dave and Buster's before Dave and Buster's. They had bowling alleys. They had the indoor golf simulators, putting, indoor mini golf, all sorts of different stuff like that. Sand volleyball courts. I mean, it was volleyball, not volleyball. Can't speak this morning. So they've been around 25, 30 years? Close. 26 years?
You
Yeah.
know, but not speaking, I was coming in this morning listening to another radio
Now they're
program.
closed.
Guy was talking about the stock market yesterday, and he wanted to say that the stock market got off to a choppy start.
Okay.
But as he was talking, he said, the stock market got off to a choppy shark.
Well,
And I said, well, it's must have really been down if you're going to call it a shark. I mean, that's a bad morning on the stock market.
their rally, though, they managed to wipe and clean up and finish positive yesterday. So,
I like it.
Allison Paul checking in. Good morning to you.
Hello.
Final break.
Uncle Mutt's Barbecue. Today's a great day for Uncle Mutt's. Drive through, pick up brisket, ribs, sausage, turkey, chicken. They got it all. Ash likes the ribs. I had some pea salad left over from Sunday last evening. Got Uncle Mutt's rice, coleslaw, potato salad, green beans, fried corn, pinto beans, cabbage. They got it all.
Got it all. Fried sweet corn.
Drive through there and get what you want. Jonathan and Katina Arterberry constantly giving back to the community.
Jonathan's there now.
He's there right now, stoking the fire.
Can't go in yet. Opens around 10:30-ish.
Get by Uncle Mutt's. Your next event deserves Gray Barn Design.
Really
If we're
does.
throwing a party, reach out to Cheryl at 920-6803 and let Cheryl help you deal with the details. You don't really want to do it. You may have an idea for your party. Give it to Cheryl, go home, pick out a dress, and enjoy your event.
Yeah, show up and wallow in the glory.
It'll be great. She's doing a great job getting a huge resume. She's got lots of pictures to show you. Call her at 920-6803. There's Jeff Meyer checking in. Good morning.
Sky Sanchez, good morning to you. Chesnick Furniture Company, folks, 100 years in business. They're passing on the celebrations and the savings to you, 50% off
Twice.
on furniture. Did we do them the first time?
I did them once.
Where was I?
But you were right here. You were hiding under that hair.
I must have been.
But
It's covering the
go
ears.
see
It's hard
Bobby
to hear.
Leon. Go see Bobby Leon. Tell him Wade and Carter sent you. Same thing when you reach out to Carl Went and say, "Hey, look, the guys at Wade and Carter sent me, and I just want to get a quote. I just want to get your feedback. What should I do with solar panels? Is it becoming more cost effective? The answer is yes. But reach out to Carl and let him help you out. There you go. What else you got? We got any more to talk about?
Yeah, primary day in a number of interesting races, one of which
AOC. AOC.
BYE.
Right? Somebody needs to beat that lady down.
I hope she loses.
She'll be right. But, if AOC got voted out of office in 6 weeks, she'd be a bartender again. Think about that, folks. That's a congressman.
You think, and this is a serious question, because I know before the COVID, we had talked about it, and independent pollster went around door to door. 20% of her constituents approved of the job she was doing. That was it.
But will they vote her out?
Well, that's the question. They voted her in on the same premise, if they stick true to the reasons they voted, I think what was his name, Joe Crawley out, who was there forever because he no longer represented the district.
Right.
He was the fourth ranking Democrat, and some say might have been in line to be Speaker of the House instead of Nancy Pelosi, but AOC turfed him out a couple of years ago. And for that reason, when they went back and asked the voters, well, he no longer represented us. He didn't do anything. Don't forget, AOC is the one that absolutely undermined Amazon, building Amazon 2.0 in her district. They were going to go there, and she said, no, we don't want it. 25,000 jobs in a district
That needed
the jobs, that is very much working class, that has higher unemployment and more poverty than a lot of than areas. You can't tell me that 25,000 jobs at Amazon wouldn't have helped. And she was gloating about the fact that she played a role in not bringing it to her district.
It's all about voter apathy. You know, it's a well-known fact. The surveys here have shown that only 10% of folks approve of the job I do here with you, and yet there's no ground roots movement to remove me.
Well, that you know of.
Because my mom pays for the airtime.
So
AJ Nelson just asked if we can maybe have Carl come in and talk about hurricane preparedness. I think what we probably could do, if not Carl Went, is get somebody from Went Electrical to come in and talk to us about the plausibility and some of the, I mean, I was ignorant as to the cost of solar, the expense, if you will. And for many, many folks, it nets out as no expense. It's just a better way to do it. We'll get him in here. What is she going to say? How much money she raised?
about $10 million.
She raised $10 million, but she's a bartender.
Yeah.
She raised $10 million.
I'm trying to see who she's running against. Michelle Caruso Cabrera, former CNBC anchor and former TV journalist. She's raised about a third of that money, if that. So extreme leftist or moderate leftist, and that's what they're hoping for. Is she's more moderate, left of center, rather than way over to the left.
So if AOC gets voted out, does she go away? What does she do then? Does she become a community organizer? Does she hook up with Barack Obama? Travel with the Obamas?
She'll live off the $10.5 million that she's raised, I guess, right?
Yes.
Because I don't believe a one-term congresswoman has a pension, do they?
Bobby Lasher said it just dropped to 8%. How is it 10% approval? See, folks, you guys think I'm a bully. I could have thrown that at Ash. I could have said, well, only 15% of the people approve
They would
of you,
have
Ash.
quickly called fake news.
Exactly. So I make it self-deprecating, and then they pile on.
That's what happens.
I mean, you people act like we're family or something. I don't know. Excuse me. What was
That was a
that?
microphone moving a little bit.
First rule of radio, man. Never move the microphone.
Yeah. Caruso Cabrera got about 20% of her donations from grassroots donors. Tells me there might be some validity to her campaign and
I
some
hope
people
so.
who are and the gloves are off in this one. She's called out AOC for worrying more about her image and her place in the national spotlight
I
and her
believe that.
celebrity status than caring about the people in her district and her community.
I believe that 100%.
She's called out the fact that she did her best to undermine and sabotage Amazon's relocating to her district and the 25,000 jobs that would have created. And those are permanent jobs forever. These aren't the construction jobs that go along with building that
Right.
facility. So it'll be interesting to
How
see.
is Amazon faring during all this? I've seen a lot of things you look at online. You say, well, due to COVID, you say, or it will say, we're still here. We're still shipping product. Sometimes it says due to COVID, there may be some delays. Is Amazon still thriving? You would think that this environment would be ideal for Amazon, right? Because you can get stuff right to your home.
I think it is.
I don't know.
I mean, if you look, a lot of people aren't going out anymore. They're not going shopping. I think people seem to be buying it.
Bob Wally says that AOC will marry one of Soros' relatives. Good point.
But your Aunt
Or
Betty
she'll
says
be
she'll be a talking head
head.
on CNN.
Very well done.
No, CNN's not left enough. She ends up on MSNBC with Rachel Maddow.
Wow.
The two of them can have a communist love fest every morning.
You know, I
First,
have-
it's got to happen. Oh man,
Ash's
that would be.
approval's 92%.
Thank you, Bobby. Appreciate that.
Suck up.
That would be the best thing to happen to kill this communist movement in this country. Would be for AOC to lose the primary.
Yeah, and then everybody listened to her. Just listen to her for a while. When I listen to the news though, like I like
She'll
Off-
cry.
off the-
She'll cry till she's gone.
on the radio. I like Glenn Beck. I like Rush Limbaugh. I can listen to. I like Hannity. Hannity's absolutely an entertainer. Sean Hannity to me is no different than Dan Patrick. Patrick talks sports. Hannity talks politics. But in general, I don't feel like Hannity is like Jim Acosta, who's just a moron to me. I listen to the guy and I'm like, it's always about how he feels or how he thinks you ought to feel. It's rarely about what actually happened. If you don't feel this way, you're not. It's just like Joe Biden telling somebody, well, if you have trouble voting for me or Trump, I mean, you're not black. Because if you don't feel this way, then you're not feeling the right way. Because I'm a Democrat and I know how you should feel. Even the Democrats that I know, the typically mouthy local Democrats that you just hear all the time and just want to punch in the face. These people have even.
But you don't because you're not violent.
No, but I look at, they know I would. That's the deal. But you look at these people and they have gone away because they're ashamed of where their party is. The Democratic Party is in such disarray in this country. Do you notice people that Joe Biden does no longer campaign?
He's sitting. He's sitting in his. Yeah. President Trump got laughed at and mocked for being in his bunker when they were rioting outside the White House doors.
And I'm sure
Which
some
any other-
service
which-
justice, you have to go, Mr. President.
Yeah,
You have
which
to go.
and they would have done with any other president. Let's be
Sure.
honest. But you don't get that pass if you're President Trump. Joe Biden has been hiding
He is all
for the last month and a half since he was the
You're not gonna
winner
hear
of
from
the
him again.
Democrat primary.
You're not going to hear from Joe Biden again. Joe Biden is going to lay low, take lots of melatonin, try to get some lucidity. And at the end of the day, he's going to try to pick a running mate with a little celebrity status. It's Joe Biden and Madonna. Madonna has no problem with black people. Bam, they win. That's the whole deal.
He's popping his ginkgo biloba,
Absolutely.
doing crosswords and Sudoku.
Talking about how good his son Hunter is. He's a good boy, aside from the blow.
Stephen Kidder says pension vests at 50 if 20 years of service, 62 if 5 years of service. So she's going to have to work a little longer or write a book. There's a good point. I think she writes a book and
She could write a book.
every
Red like me. She could write a book. Red like me. Because she is a straight up communist.
BJ Nelson says she got something yesterday from Amazon that she ordered in late March.
So what if she got beat? Then somebody didn't know, I think Steve Kidder put, what if AOC got beat?
Scott Nelson's Father's Day present arrived yesterday, huh, BJ?
Nice. But what if AOC became Joe Biden's running mate? Plugs and bug-eyed. What if she became Joe Biden's? Have you noticed how that Shifty Shift guy and AOC have like the same eyes? They look kind of like Marty Feldman. They're just like big bug-eyed people. Are they possessed? Are they zombies?
Adam Dodger says the same thing, Uncle Joe and AOC.
What if Uncle Joe and AOC, he could sniff her hair? She could go, quit it, Joe.
You want her as the next president?
Adam,
She
she
knows
knows
me.
I do ginkgo babu. I don't even know what ginkgo babu is. I do whatever Dawn tells me. If she gives me a pill, I take it.
You're probably taking it.
I mean, like if I wake up in the morning, I've got like 2 vitamins and a blue pill, I know it's going to be a banner day.
And, well, don't forget Walsam, the Walmart or the Walgreens generic sleep aid is blue.
Well, you're right. I love you, Adam. Got no energy. Naps lasting more than 4 hours could be detrimental to your marriage.
Exactly.
Right.
Please shake him and make sure he's still breathing.
Yeah, Aunt Betty just said she believes that Michelle Obama. I think you're spot on, Aunt Betty. I think there's a really good chance that at the very last minute, I mean at the last possible, while the ink is in the printer for the ballot, that Joe Biden announces that he is convinced Michelle Obama to run as his running mate.
I don't know if the stories are true that her daughter was arrested as a rioter and protester.
She was just doing, that's how bad it is in this country. You don't understand because you've always been white, even though you're a communist.
Yeah.
You don't understand that her daughter, with all of her privilege, had to do something. She had to go to the streets, take it to the streets. She had to do it.
Well, I says Bourbon put him into bed since 1885.
Right?
Some truth to that.
Commissioner, good morning, sir.
Crown has the same effect on Canadian guys.
I hope that everything is
Bourbon
perfect.
never got across the border till the free trade agreement.
Hope everything's perfect in Precinct 4. Peter McNally says, look at the polls, guys. I imagine Peter's alluding to the fact that Joe Biden has at least an 11% lead in the polls. Who cares? What did Hillary have, a 50% lead?
Yeah, look at the poll. I honestly don't believe the polls anymore. I think they provide some talking points. I don't think they're an accurate predictor or indicator of election results anymore.
And Peter, if you were a Republican, you would get the mail that I get that always says, tell them you're going to vote for Biden and then vote for Trump at the end of the day.
False sense of security. Speaking of which, we're out of here, folks. Ralph's in there. We're at the top of the hour, so
He doesn't have Brother Gary in here this morning. I don't see Brother Gary in here.
he'll come in. He'll come strolling in.
That's slacker.
Brother man's got things to do.
Brother man does have things to do. Folks, we love you. Hope you have a great day out there today. Be safe on the roads. It's going to be cloudy, 93. Get some Uncle
Careful,
Russ.
they might ice up.
Get some Veracruz. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye, folks.
Bye.
Paid programming at KHMC Magic 95 assumes no responsibility for its content, and the Wade and Carter Show